Hello and welcome back to Read Fine Entertainment. Today we're going to be taking a look at this MSI laptop, the MSI GF65. It's a budget laptop, but let's see what it has to offer. So in front of me, as I said earlier, this is the MSI GF65. The first thing we're going to do here is, well, open the box. But right before we do, let's go over some of the specs that are in here. This is the GF65 Thin 10UE, and it has a Intel Core i5-10500H processor with an RTX 3060, 6 gigabytes of video memory. It only has 8 gigabytes of DDR4, but you'll see why in a second why that is not a problem. The same thing goes for our storage space. Only a 512 gig SSD, but again, we'll see in a little bit why that is not a problem. Other things about this is it has a 15-inch display that is 144 Hertz. It comes with Windows 10, Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth. That's the main things that you want to know about this. Of course, Windows 11 is out, and you can get the free upgrade right with this. So let's start opening this box. First thing we want to do is, of course, set it down nice. We see right here, this comes down, and this just opens up. Are we ready to look at it? There it is. I mean, not the best presentation, but again, this is a budget gaming laptop. I'll have links in the description below to where I got it, and all the specs will be down there too. So the first thing we want to do is take a look at this laptop. Seems fairly okay. I mean, simple plastic bag here. Seems thin enough. I like that. It is on the heavier side for just a laptop in general. You'll just notice I think it's a bit over 4 pounds, they said. Correct me if I'm wrong. It'll be somewhere on screen if I'm not. But the main thing about this is that it is thinner. It's not like one of those ginormous laptops that you can see other places. But on here we can see we've got our microphone, headphone combo jack, 2 Type A 3.0 ports, 2 Type C ports, and Ethernet port. I believe it's just a gigabit. And on this side we've got our HDMI and power in, which leaves not much else on the back, nothing on the front. The one thing that I think I've heard about this is that the USB-C ports only do data. You cannot use video dongles on them or Thunderbolt. Again, it is a budget laptop. But let's leave that to the side for right now. This is just the unboxing portion. We'll get to more of the review in a second. We'll want to bring this box right back over here. In this compartment over here, you should find a cable for a power adapter. And we take this off, and this next piece, cardboard piece off. We have our quick guide in how to get started in this. And right up here is the last thing that we're going to find in here, the power adapter. This is the 180 watt version. It's actually, I find, relatively slim. I mean, look at that. It's only 1 inch wide. It's still big, but it's not extremely big as I've seen on some others where they have like 2 of them. But again, it's a budget laptop. But that's all we'll find in this cardboard box. So let's get it off the table. So we've got our quick guide, got our power brick that we will put together here. And let's see how long this cable is, because with a laptop that doesn't have a great battery life, I mean, a lot of gaming laptops don't have great battery life, but this only has like a 50 watt-hour battery in. We'll check that. We're going to open it up and look at the inside during this. But we'll plug this in and let's see. Okay, so the power pack can get decently far away from the wall. Let's measure it against me. It's 5-foot-ish cable. And then this power brick, while it isn't too heavy, it is something to consider when you have to bring it with you. And this other cable I'd say looks about the same length as that. So I'd say you have overall maybe about 10 feet that you can be away from an outlet. So good to know. Small-ish brick, about 10 feet away, but it is a proprietary, well, I should say, it's a barrel jack. I have also found that you cannot charge this with USB-C either. I know it's kind of sad, but whatever, you know, as I said, it's a budget laptop. I found this one on sale for maybe as low as $900 for this variant. The other ones can be a little bit more expensive with a little bit better specs. There's an i7 version of this, and also it can come with more RAM and storage, I believe. But again, it's a budget laptop. This is like the cheapest one that you can find with a 3060 in, and that's why I really wanted it. But we'll have to check on how good this 3060 performs compared to other 3060s. I won't be able to do that, but I'll be able to give you some numbers, and you can go looking around for other laptops too. But let's begin with opening this up, because that's good. Look at that. Got your foam in there as normal, or your thing, but it seems to be mostly recyclable materials, so that's good to see. We can see this nice pristine display up here. I would like to see this as a 16:10 ratio, because there's just so much room down here for that extra space that would be good for productivity tasks. You might be saying, but this isn't really great for productivity. It's only got 8 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. That's not really enough. But as I said, we've got all these ports over here that have high bandwidth to put external storage on. But we also will be opening this up in just a second to see what's on the inside. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to take this top peel off. Here we go. Oh, that looks nice. It's a beautiful top. I love this because while it's not actually metal, I don't think, don't quote me on that, it has a nice like brushed aluminum feel, and it's got this nice MSI logo on. So now let's go on to opening this up, seeing what we can upgrade, and then after that we'll be testing it out. So now we're going to be taking the back off the laptop because there's actually some expandability inside. This is awesome to see. So first things first, let's take the laptop, make sure to carefully flip it over onto its back where we can see that there are many screws on the back. So in total there should be 3 along the back, there's another 4 along the front, and then another 5 spread out in the middle here. Of course, one of them, as we can see here, is underneath a factory seal. Of course, they might try to make it harder for you to receive a warranty, repair, or other things, but again, as far as I know, I've heard that these things are actually legal, and they have to prove that you did the damage in order for them to not warranty repair it. But just something to think about. But inside there is expandability, so let's open it up, taking all these screws off. Okay, so now all the screws are out. Thankfully, they're all the same length and size. But I did put them in the same pattern that I took them out, so I know exactly where they go. But these are all the same, so it doesn't really matter. Now the one thing that is tricky with getting this back cover off is this headphone jack port here on this side. As we can see, the plastic actually curls up around it, making it difficult to get off. So the first thing we'll want to do is start prying from the other side where the HDMI and power in go, because those do not stick out into the plastic molding here. So what we'll want to do is kind of look around here, and we can see where the 2 plastic pieces come apart. And if we can just see back by this vent, we might want to get a plastic spudger. But if you don't have that, you can just easily use your nails. Just again, be careful, don't put too much pressure, and make sure you have all the screws out before you go taking this off. And no, thankfully MSI did not put any screws underneath the feet, at least on this model. So let's start getting this off. I'm going to start from up here with my fingernails, prying them apart, working my way gently across the computer. And now we work our way across the front, and be careful for this side that we haven't done yet, as what we'll want to do is lift this up like this and push it away down here to make it go around this port. Now we can set that off to the side. We can just see that inside it's general plastic. It has a lot of breathing holes for air to circulate around. But inside is the even better part. There is upgradability in here. First thing I want you to notice is that I already have a second RAM stick in here. It originally only comes with one 8 gig stick of RAM. So I went and bought a second 8 gig stick. Of course, what you'd more want to do is try to match these exactly. So maybe you'd get a newer kit of both the same. But, you know, you might not get the most performance. There's a little bit in there to be said. But you can just go buy out and get a second one, and you can get 16 gigs in this computer easily just like that. The same thing is what I did for over here. This original one here is a Kingston 512 gig SSD. It is an NVMe, but I added my own second M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. So what you'll want to notice is that this slot here is PCIe only, and actually underneath the battery here there's printing that says this one can be PCIe or SATA. So you'll just want to be careful when installing that. If you do buy a SATA NVMe drive, or NVMe can only come in PCIe. A SATA M.2 drive, you only have one slot for that, where you have two slots that can do PCIe storage. But another lackluster thing, as we can see in here, is that it has down-firing speakers. We'll hear that later, but I bet they're not going to sound as amazing as some other laptops could, but we don't know. We'll find that out later. Here we see the not so big battery. I think this is only a 50 watt-hour or so battery. I'll have it somewhere on screen that's its actual capacity. But it's not as big as it could be. But I mean, that's pretty good for upgradability. We can see the ton of cooling in here. Look at all of these copper heat pipes and a dedicated heat pipe going for our memory VRM for the GPU there. I love to see that. Anyway, let's put this thing back together and get to testing it now with my upgrade. So just know that your numbers may be slightly less because of the less RAM. But let's get to that. So to put this back on, again, we'll want to make sure that this headphone jack gets put on at an angle like this to go around the port. And then just put it down, put all the snaps back together, and then put all the screws in. So let's do that. So here I have the laptop up and running, and as we can see, I have already upgraded it to Windows 11. But some of the things that we'll want to notice is some of MSI's software. Like here we can see the MSI Dragon Center. It's got your CPU usage, GPU usage, what CPU and GPU you have, along with the RAM amount, our fan speeds, our SSD space, our Wi-Fi and LAN, our power modes, our temperatures, our clocks. It's pretty cool. And it can change performance modes right here. We have extreme performance, balanced, silent, super battery, and user. Extreme performance, we can actually go into over here, user scenario, extreme performance. We can do a core clock offset for the GPU as well as a VRAM clock offset. And you can do cooler boost, which basically sets the fans to maximum, and it gets quite noisy. What we want to do is evaluate some of its performance. So let's stick under the extreme performance mode and launch some games. Like here we have Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's launch it, and see what kind of performance we can get. Okay, so here we are running the GTA 5 benchmark. And one thing we want to notice is that we can hear the fans a lot more than we used to. They are pretty high, but it looks like we were getting almost 60 FPS there with this on extreme performance. We're getting 40 to 30 here on this Vinewood. I don't know what a normal 3060 or other desktop things can get. I haven't run this test on much stuff, but when playing the game normally, it seems quite good, especially if you turn some of the settings a little bit further down. Other noteworthy features about this laptop are that it does have a webcam that seems pretty decent quality. We'll get a little shot of that in here in a little bit. It has a backlit only with red, the lighting, keys. The trackpad seems to be accurate, and the clicking is fine. The one thing that I would notice if you want to create a battle station out of this is that you do only have the one HDMI out, which is what I'm capturing this on right now. So there should be no performance loss due to OBS or anything like that, because that's actually not running on here. And as we can see, we're again sitting in that upper 40s. Now we're dipping a little bit, but it's doing pretty good for this. The fans do kick up, as I've said before, but they're not like a whining. It's a whoosh of air, but they do get loud, especially in extreme performance when they're really kicking. But they do have a fan curve that you can set in the settings if you want to. And I'd recommend doing that based on your liking if you want to keep it cooler or hotter. This current fan setting that I have keeps it around 80 degrees Celsius, which is a bit warm, but again, it's a laptop and it's not maxing out at 100. That's why I have to say that's a pretty good win for this. Okay, so after that, we could see that we were getting about 40s, 50s, sometimes up to 60 in GTA 5. And now we're going to do a simulation game, City Skylines here, and see what we're getting in here. You can see it's about 40-some FPS. We can take a look around the town, zoom in and out. And this is a very great playing experience for me. This is on really high settings. And I love just looking around at all the little AIs that this has to compute. So let's have the town go in motion here. And we can see all of our cars here getting a very steady frame rate, and the fans are just kicking up slightly. And that's the overview of this laptop. It can play games fairly well on the go for not that much, and it seems to perform quite okay. So I'll let you guys decide on if you are going to get it or not. I totally recommend it. For this deal that I got, it's perfect. Slight upgrade. I already had the storage. Just bought another 8 gigs of RAM, and it's fairly great to play on. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to follow us on social media and check out our website. The link's in the description below. And if you liked, please hit that button. If you disliked, you know where that button is. And be sure to get subscribed.